busted up laughing at me like, damn, what's this dude's problem and stuff? Nobody don't care about marriage in Japan. You better get in tune. You know, it took me 2 years to figure that out, you know, and I was like, wow, you know, man, my first girlfriend in Nagoya, she was fine. She almost looked black too. My God, she was fine. She was short, but spoke good English. We met in Osaka, and both of us ended up living in Nagoya, and her parents were individually wealthy and stuff, you know, but she was spoiled, you know, and she played that game too, you know. First she would da-da-da, and then all of a sudden when she wants something or wants you to do something her way, her voice get all high and start talking like a little kid, and I just be rolling. I'm like, girl, you better chill out. I said, I ain't one of these white guys who are one of these brothers or something that you be talking to and stuff, you know. But she was fine, and at that time she was like maybe 23 or 24. I was 29. I was 8 years old. So she probably like 20, 22, 23 or something like that. But she was just so fine. But I mean, you know, these girls, man, I'm telling you, they young. They, you know what I mean, their age is young, but they mind. Be surprised, man. They telling you they be whipping these dudes into position. Whoop, hop two, hop three, left, right. Singing in cadence and stuff. And the boyfriends and their husbands be seeing. They be doing this to Japanese guys too. But I mean, you know, it was funny. But let me jump back to Hawaii again. You know, and, you know, I just be going out to these clubs and meeting all these girls and be dancing and stuff like a Bruce Zebra. Although he stands up on the stage and these girls come up and dance and have their legs all open, all pressed up against me and grabbing me and all this stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, bam, you know, I went home alone, you know, and that happened until my brother finally told me about Waikiki, and I went down there and I was with this, I was standing at the light, you know, getting ready to go across the street to McDonald's, and this one Japanese girl was standing there, and she was staring at me, so I just said hi, and she just started saying hi, and where you going, you know, and she said, oh, nowhere. I was like, I'm going to McDonald's, you know, want to go eat? She's like, all right, went there and ate, and then went to Animal on the Mall. We standing in front of like Louis Vuitton or something like that, and she just grasped my hand and put them on her breasts and started massaging them and stuff. I'm like, oh man, what are you doing? You know, I'm saying that to my mind. I said, if the security or somebody see me, they're gonna say, think I'm raping this girl or some crazy stuff, you know. And so I moved my hand, you know, real quick and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on, but I messed that up because I don't know. We were supposed to meet that night, and I had to work and breathe, and we were supposed to work and stuff, but you know, I got off late, and that was it. And then I felt really bad, so I went. She told me she was leaving the next day, and I went up to the airport. And can you believe it? I actually found her and stuff, and I was like, I'm so sorry, and like, you know, we traded numbers. I mean, email address. I sent her a couple of letters, but you know, she sent me back, you know, but that faded. And so I was like, okay, let me try this Japanese, you know. And I learned how to read. I learned how to read and write hiragana within like 2 weeks, and I started studying the language and stuff, and that's how I met my second wife. You know, I asked her, you know, how to pronounce it, and she told me. I was like, okay, thank you. And I'm getting ready to stand up and leave, and you know, because she was in front of a coin laundry, and all of a sudden she just plopped her head on my shoulders and moving next to me. I'm like, what the hell is she doing and stuff, you know? And I was like, nah. But then my brother, you know, he told me one day, like a week before, he said, Ralph, you know, you go to these clubs, you're a good dancer, you're handsome, you're in shape, you got all these muscles, and these girls like you and stuff, and you're not taking nobody home, you're not going home with them. I'm like, so I don't care, you know, because I still had that LA mentality, you know, hanging out with my gangster friends and hanging out with them, and you know, going to all these neighborhoods and hanging out with these sisters and all kinds of crazy stuff, you know. I was doing and stuff, you know. I wasn't getting in trouble. I should have got shot 1,000 times probably, you know, hanging out in the wrong neighborhoods and stuff, you know, all by myself. But, you know, I was like, nah, man, forget these girls. I ain't trying to stay in Hawaii, you know. And so I just finally let loose, say, okay, in the mirror, you know, I said, okay, let's go out. And next thing you know, we ended up getting married, and bam, here I am, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it was a good thing because I learned a lot. But anyway, I am tired, and continue this another time. I'm going to talk about Hawaii, my Filipino experience, and my Thai. But I will tell you about my Thai experience. Oh my God. Thai was just... Thailand, I've been there at least 20 times, and that place was the bomb. You know, I met a lot of good, I had a lot of good friends. You know, this one, oh my God, I got to tell this story. Let me pull over. I was at this Kawasan Road, and there's this bar called Q's Bar or something like that. And I was in there playing pool, and I guess that night I must like won like 3 or 4 games in a row. And I was drinking and dancing and stuff. You know, after a certain time, they stopped people from dancing and from playing pool, and just turned to a dance floor and stuff. And I what did I do? I went to the back of the to the other side of the club and stuff, and I was just standing there. And I think at that time too, they might have had another pool table on the other side, but I can't remember. But I was just drinking and stuff, and some Thai dude just kept looking at me or whatever, you know. I'm like, okay, whatever. And finally, you know, I just walk over to him, or he came to me, I don't know. But I know I said something first and said, what's up, you know. He's like, oh, you know, it's cool. I said, you want a drink? You know, he's like, all right. You know, I was buying the drinks and stuff. And next thing you know, he said, oh, you know, it's our table, come sit with us. You know, I'm like, oh, no. Please enjoy your time with your friends. And I bought all of them a drink, you know, because in Thailand, drinks are like really cheap and stuff. And he's like, no, please. I'm like, okay. So I sat down, and next thing you know, this fine Thai girl came and sat down, and we all talking and stuff. And this guy wasn't little. He was, you know, he had muscles and stuff. I think he was homosexual, though. I really think he was. And if he wasn't, he just had those tendencies and stuff, because he was into art or fashion or something like that. But anyway, you know, him and his friend and that girl, it was like 3 or 4 of them, 3 guys and like 1 girl. And so we just talking, I'm just listening, and his English was pretty good, you know. And his sister's English, everybody there was talking and everything. So he just said, hey, you know, where you staying? And I said, oh, right here at the, I forgot the name of the hotel and stuff. I used to always know it was right across the street. And he's like, okay, here's my number. No, he said, here's my number, but I live with my sister. You know, why don't you call us? I'm like, nah, it's cool. You know, no. Please, you know, you're cool. And, you know, my sister's cool. And I want you guys to meet and talk. And I'm like, huh? Why everybody send me up with their sisters and stuff, you know? I'm like, okay, fine. So I called them like a couple of days later, because I was only out there for like maybe 10 days or something. And so they came out and they met me in Kawasan Road, and they met me in Kawasan Road, and then we went out, and then I think that was it. And then the next time I went, you know, I called them, because they told me every time I come call them, I left a message, and they called the hotel, left a message. I called them back and got in touch with them. And like, why don't you come to our house? I'm like, I ain't going to your house. And they're like, why not? Come on. I said, I don't even know you live. He said, no, I wrote our address to just give it to a cab driver. So I ended up going in their house, man. They had a nice place, you know. It was a real security building and stuff, you know. 1 room, shower, and it was just, you know, it was real cheap and stuff. But it was real nice, though. She had a big old huge bed and stuff, and she slept in the bed. He slept on the floor, and he had a dog and everything. So he just left, and it was just me and her, and then we just talking. And she go and take a shower and come out with her towel and sit down, talking, and slowly putting her clothes on and all this stuff. But she was, oh my God, Thai women are so beautiful. Oh my God, it was just. But you know, she was just a friend, you know. So I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't thinking about no sex or nothing, you know. And the homeboy came back 3 hours and I'm like, what did you go do? Oh, I'm just with my friends. I'm like, all right, fine. So we all went out and ate, you know. And every time we hang out, I'm a paying for everything, you know. And it was a trip, you know. But I didn't think that was gonna last. But